Don't you know that you were set apart? Deuteronomy 14:2. A chosen people, a royal priesthood, 1 Peter 2:9. Called by name before you were born, Jeremiah 1:5. Here are the lessons you will learn from my story. Money, knowledge, credit, experience in the business, all are not reasons for you not to start on the journey from where you are to where it is that you want to be. Here's point one, your takeaway for today. What do you have faith to believe God for? On this journey, you cannot be afraid to go back and look again, to rinse, reuse, recycle. Every stupid thing that I ever had to do was taking me from where I was to where it is that I wanted to be. That class you had to drop, that job you want to quit, that friend that walked away, that book you can't seem to finish that everybody's telling you you should be writing, that person you keep letting back in. There are no mistakes. It's just necessary. I love how Fantasia said it. She says, I am who I am today because God used my mistakes. He worked them for my good like no one else ever could. He told me to tell you it was necessary. In other words, revisit, redo, repeat. See, failure in one season is favor in a season that's coming. My science failure was a setup for my future. I thought I was going to be a doctor. I needed that science class to get me from where I was to where I wanted to be. I didn't know the plan, but God did. We may not have 300 years of my grandfather did it that way. In fact, my generation is the first generation of African Americans who will have wealth transference in the body of property and businesses to leave to their children outside of insurance policies. It will be my grandchildren's first privilege to have and operate in privilege. And as the daughter of a man born on a sugarcane plantation, who is now making a living and a legacy in the same industry that only 2 generations ago, my ancestors did not have free enterprise, I do have the blueprint. See, every seed contains within it a blueprint, a map that produces after its own kind. And the grit, the guts, and the resilience of my ancestors who did not have free enterprise, lives on the inside of me and produces now after its own kind. See, the advantage that we have is that we know how to do this without money, being the first and sometimes the only. We just have to go back to the beginning and look again. A seed was planted long ago that now produces after its own kind in you. For we are more than conquerors. Because who ever heard of conquerors that didn't have anything to conquer? Opposition is not the evidence that your faith isn't working. It's an opportunity to give your faith something to work on. It's an opportunity to see your faith work. See, opposition tells you that you don't know how to bake, not even out of a box. Opposition tells you that this won't work, that you don't measure up. But your faith says, I already saw me in it. because your insight sees further than your eyesight, and your insight can see what your eyesight cannot. But you have to believe that it works. Mark 11:22 and 23. Have faith in God. If you believe and do not doubt, you can have whatever you say. That same blueprint was placed in you and still speaks today. If you will go back to the beginning and look again. Use the words that worked in the past and say what those who conquered before you said. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. It's an indication of Matthew 18:19, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I will be in the midst of them. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. It's an indication of 1 John 5:15. And if we know that he hears us in whatever we ask, we know that we have the request that we have made of him. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. It's an indication that Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. And Romans 5:5, now hope never disappoints. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. It's an indication that we are not new to this, we're true to this. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us far on the way. It's an indication of it won't always be like this. Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. It's an indication of James 1:2-4. Count it all joy when you experience trials of many kinds, knowing that these trials come to increase your perseverance, and when your perseverance is mature and complete, then you will lack nothing. So what do you have faith to believe God for? Because guess what? According to your faith, it will be unto you. Whatever you choose, whatever you do what's been done by the ones who conquered before. See, you were made to conquer more because the blueprint of the seed was already set inside of you. So say what they said, which is what God said, and use your words to speak what you seek till you see what you said. Because science tells us that we don't talk about how we feel what we talk about. So then DEI doesn't matter when your faith is in the building. And that, my dear friends, is your HBCU advantage. We'll start the way that we began, we'll end. If you're happy and you know it, shout for joy. If you're happy and you know it, shout for joy. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, shout, I declare joy. And that's just the way I want it.
Let's give another round of applause for this change maker, Miss Moynion-Francois. As guests of today's symposium, you each received a copy of Moynion-Francois' book, Made from Scratch, Funding Success Without a Recipe. You can follow Moynion-Francois on all socials at Moynion-Francois. We will now take a 10-minute networking break, and we'll return at 10 a.m. for HBCU Hustle, empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs presidential panel discussion. I encourage everyone to partake in refreshments upstairs and also encourage all of you to network. See you at 10 a.m. Mignon Francois will be available after our guest panelists to sign books. We are about to begin with our panel. Could I please have everyone to be seated? Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to HBCU's Shaping the Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, where innovation, culture, and legacy intersect to shape the future of entrepreneurship. Welcome to one of the most anticipated segments of today's symposium, HBCU Hustle, Empowering the Next Generation of Entrepreneurs. This presidential discussion brings together distinguished presidents who are not only shaping the future of entrepreneurship, but are also deeply committed to fostering innovation within the HBCU community. Historically, black colleges and universities have long been incubators of resilience, creativity, and excellence. They have produced trailblazers who have redefined the industries and uplifted communities. Today, we continue that legacy by engaging with thought leaders who are dedicated to equipping the next generation of entrepreneurs with the tools, networks, and mindsets necessary for success. As we delve into this conversation today, let us be reminded that hustle is not merely about ambition. It's about purpose, perseverance, and the unwavering belief in the power of community and innovation. Without further ado, let us welcome our esteemed panelists whose insights and experiences will undoubtedly inspire and empower us all. Our first panelist, Dr. Artis, was appointed as the 14th president and first woman president of Benedict College in 2017. She previously served as the 13th president and first woman president of Florida Memorial University in Miami Gardens, Florida. She is described as intentional, professional, and thoroughly committed to the proliferation and transformation of colleges and universities that serve underrepresented men and women of color. Dr. Artis' leadership has been recognized locally and nationally. She has received recognitions such as Female HBCU President of the Year by HBCU Digest, Top 35 Leading Women in Higher Education, President of the Year by Higher Ed Dive, just to name a few. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Rosalind Clark Artis, President of Benedict College. Dr. Herman J. Felton Jr. is the 17th President and CEO of Wiley University and has served in this capacity since 2018. Prior to his time at Wiley University, he served as the president at Wilberforce University. Dr. Felton emphasizes student experience and has been transformative in renovating the university's radio station, training spaces for physical education, and created the Student Health, Counseling, and Wellness Unit for the college. Notably, Dr. Felton is the co-founder of the Higher Education Leadership Foundation and organization that ensures a pipeline of transformational, highly skilled, and principled leaders where they meet the needs, challenges, and opportunities that face the nation's HBCUs. I present to you Dr. Herman Felton, President of Wiley University. Donald Comer is interim president of Lane College. Prior to taking on this role, he concluded a successful career as a seasoned Fortune 500 senior executive known for his ability to drive innovation. His career is marked by progressive levels of responsibility and leadership in wide-ranging business disciplines that include data analytics, marketing, finance, strategic planning, software design and delivery, and project management. He retired from FedEx as Vice President of Decision Science and Analytics. Donald's belief in advancement through education led him to dedicating significant personal time to serving on the boards of 2 historic Black colleges and the National Black MBA Association. Donald served 6 years as a trustee at Stillman College, including 3 as chair of the board of trustees. He served 5 years as trustee at LeMoyne-Owen College. Donald is a 22 inductee into the Lane College Hall of Distinction, recognizing a non-alumnus as a friend of the college. He served the 14,000 plus member National Black MBA Association Board from 2012 to 2022, 4 years as board chair. I welcome you, Dr. Donald Comer, President of Lane College. Shall we begin? I would love for each of you to give a brief introduction of what your institution is doing to include and evolve the field of entrepreneurship.
Well, good day. Thank you for having me, President Davis. It's a delight to be on your campus and to bear witness to the wonderful speaker that we had this morning. Congratulations and thank you for inspiring us all. Benedict College, the HBCU that put the BC in HBCU, located in Columbia, South Carolina. We are thoroughly committed to the spirit of entrepreneurship. In fact, 5 years ago, we renamed our College of Business from the School of Business and Economics to Business and Entrepreneurship because we wanted it to be crystal clear that we have a commitment to developing an entrepreneurial mindset for all of our students. We're home to 2 business incubators, the Women's Business Center, the only statewide women's business incubator to exist on the campus of an HBCU, and our Business Development Center, which allows young people, old people, any people who are interested in expanding or scaling up their business the opportunity to develop marketing, capital acquisition strategies, bonding capacity, and other technical assistance. So we are thoroughly committed to entrepreneurship at Benedict College.
Good morning. I also want to echo the sentiments. Just amazing way, and I'm full of joy. Chris Davis, just a phenomenal person. I'm so excited that you're getting married this weekend again. I know that there are nothing but great things in store here. I am very clear that the entrepreneurial mindset is something that our gift to our students is. So we created a course that's an elective but is a required course for all freshmen to take. So every student, this is our first year doing it, but every student has to take the entrepreneurial mindset course one-on-one. Every student. Our MBA, which is new, is an MBA with an emphasis on entrepreneurship. It is clear that the origin of our stories, we farmed and we sold product to folk in our communities. We made brick with straw, literally and figuratively, and sold that. It's baked into our DNA, all of ours. And particularly at the HBCU. So we're merely trying to continue that practice, that pattern and practice. So we're committed to it in words, deeds, and actions.
So Good morning. And I'm happy to be here as well. As you heard, I was on the Board of Trustees, and I want to take credit for placing Chris into this role. So I'm excited about his leadership and all that he has done and will continue to do to advance the magic at LeMoyne-Owen College. So congratulations. At Lane College, we are deeply invested in entrepreneurship. Our business department is our leading major, and we meet individuals every day who are contributing to that. One of the things we're invested in, we have a number of students who vision themselves as designers. So what we've been able to do is to clear space within our bookstore that will allow them to have their designs in the bookstore, to introduce them to the campus and facilitate their ability to advance their craft. Another thing that I'll share is a partnership that we have with Arizona State University. Their Luminosity Lab is nationally recognized as a center for innovation and entrepreneurship. We have an instance of their Luminosity Lab on Lane College campus where we spend time working with our students and helping them to envision what entrepreneurship could look like. And then lastly, we have a partnership with CVS. CVS has a fully functioning version of a drugstore on campus, and we focus on minting pharmacy techs as well as retail management in that facility. And what that allows them to do is to go forward in the retail space and build their own businesses, as well as it is a feeder program into pharmacy. And we've been able to see a lot of our students to go on and become pharmacists and have their own practices.
Awesome. I appreciate those answers. Now let's begin with Dr. Artis. In your own words, why is entrepreneurship an important topic in today's evolving America? And what advantage does HBCUs have in this era?
So I think it's been articulated really by my colleague, President Felton. That's what we've always done. As people of color in this country, we have been the mothers of innovation. Necessity is the mother of innovation, and we've had a lot of needs, right? The root to necessity is need. Our people have operated in lack for hundreds of years, and as a result of that, have developed an immeasurable creativity and innovative spirit. The ability to make something out of nothing, right, brick from straw, is endemic to our culture. And so for us to shepherd that, steward that, and develop that really is, in my opinion, one of the primary responsibilities of an HBCU.
Indeed, indeed. Dr. Felton and Dr. Comer, making something out of nothing. How does that resonate with your institutions?
I mean,
That's what we do every day.
let me first say that I have lost my mother and I have discovered my origin. So everything that I say is predicated from that axis, and it has nothing to do with anything in this world that may or may not be going on right now. When you really understand the origin of our institutions and you study leadership like we have, you came to this crystallization that the presidents before us in a day when they were closer to the founding were not just administrators, they were preachers, they were teachers, they were crazy uncles and aunties. They were entrepreneurs. And so the redundancy of our responses, I think, is going to find us landing back at this very, very, it was both a seminal moment for them and also no other choice, right? We've had to. There's been no other choice for us. And so we find ourselves now at this inflection point that if we don't take away, that we need to return to the days of the La Villa of Jacksonville, the Rosewood of Rosewood, Florida, the Missouri, the Tulsa. If we don't return to that space, good for us. Whatever we get, good for us. And so these people here, these trustees, are responsible for leading in a way that is courageous and without compunction. And if we don't do that, if we don't lead those who we're entrusted to, then you have a challenge. But I think when you find presidents who understand the origin, we are reminded that we've always had to, and therefore we must continue to do what we've always had to do.
Yeah, I'll just share that the genesis of HBCUs was a lesson in entrepreneurship. It was founded during a time where we didn't have a whole lot of options. We were coming out of slavery. I'll speak specifically about Lane College. When Bishop Isaac Lane founded Lane College, he realized that we were creating an emerging generation of educated Negroes, and that as they became more educated, he needed to put in place an institution that was teaching and creating ministers so that those educated individuals could be taught by individuals that were educated. Really proud of the fact that Lane College was founded by black people, for black people, one of a few HBCUs. Most of them started from white people who wanted to give us another opportunity to do something. But we've started with an entrepreneurial mindset focused on bringing what we needed and how we could generate and continue wealth building for us in an era where that had not been the case.
Understood. And we're going to stay with you, Dr. Comer, for this next question and speak with our other presidents as well. We're going to address some of the barriers that are currently in place for HBCUs right now, some of the systematic barriers that our black entrepreneurs are facing in assessing capital and mentorship as well. Please speak to this.
Yeah, it's an interesting space for us to be in. I was really excited after 35 years at FedEx to know that you had been part of our business incubation center. It's hard to be in a competitive situation where resources are tight, where mindsets don't always support a different way of thinking. That there's still a perception of us being the talented 10th. If you rise to a position where you can show up and you can present yourself well, you're an anomaly. So when you step into a bank, when you step into an environment and you do the pitch for what it is that you're trying to sell, it's a tough sell. The playing ground is not equal. I am excited. We talked about National Black MBA. We have a scale-up pitch contest. That's all about creating entrepreneurs in that space. So I've been invested in that. I've been able to bring some of those learnings into what we do at Lane College. That is critical to wealth building. If you look at what is critical in wealth building, it's about equity. It's not about buying stocks. It's about buying businesses and generating another level of income. So it is crucial to a world that we envision for ourselves where we're passing on generational wealth. I love the speaker this morning because everything she said resonated deeply with me.
Indeed, indeed. How about you, Dr. Felton?
So there was this great debate between Booker T and I think it was Du Bois. And they argued about the liberal arts education and the technical skill for the newly freed, enslaved African. And the conclusion was that it didn't matter which one. You needed to have one of them. Fast forward, we moved to the Harlem Renaissance. And when I think about our speaker this morning, I think entrepreneurs first have to be very clear that they were having a conversation with God about doing that. Because some folks have hobbies that are meant to just be hobbies. And that road to entrepreneurship is brutal. It's critical. I think about this access to capital. We know that there are barriers for us. It's different. But I lean on clarity from God and the continuum of excellence. That is the kryptonite to racism and all of that other stuff. You have tenacity and persistence, which is required, you'll find a way. You have to understand that it is not meant for us to be great, right? But you also have to understand that we're progeny of the enslaved and we are great. So we really don't have a choice. So if entrepreneurship is a conversation that you were on that conference call with Jesus and y'all had that for real and it wasn't about vanity or something that you believe, you have to marry that with the hard work and the preparedness, right? So I think there are barriers, but they're more so self-imposed barriers. If you are about that action, you're going to spin the block as many times as you need to get what your father told you was yours. So I know that there are barriers, and I'm not naive, but between me and where I want to go, anything in between that is going to have a problem. So I think if you're an entrepreneur and you're serious about getting where you want to go, 1,000 no's are just what I need to do to get to 1,001, right? So I think I'm very clear that there are barriers, but I believe if you want something, there is nothing that is going to stop you from getting there. And when you are rested, done, you're earnest in saying, I did everything that I could have, and I need to re-examine that conversation with God. Maybe he told me that needed to be something else, but I thought I had heard him say this. So. But I think you work hard, but I just believe that entrepreneurs, the barriers are there, but they're not there. And I think the mental barriers are the things, and that's one of the conversations I teach in that course to tell folks, like, if you're gonna come in here deficit driven, you need to leave, right? Because if you do that, you're casting deficit over your spirit. And we got spirits of no fear.
Amen. Amen. We are indeed resilient, Dr. Felton. Dr. Artis, let's talk about the mentorship piece. What roles do HBCUs play in addressing any type of systematic barriers when it involves access to mentors?
So I think we are a wealth of opportunity. We have alumni that have distinguished themselves in myriad ways, who have the ability to come back and teach or bring someone along. We talk about Sankofa, right? Looking back, bringing others along. That's endemic, again, to our culture. And I think our role really as HBCUs is as facilitators. Right. So God speaks to those who listen, but faith without works is dead, and God helps those who help themselves. So if you're coming to an HBCU with an idea, a vision, a thought, and I, unfortunately, unlike Dr. Francois, you need to set something on fire for me, Lord. Like, I need you to be crystal clear. Like, don't whisper, don't suggest, burn the bush. Like, I need you to burn a bush, right? I need to be very clear about what it is you want me to do, and I am crystal clear about what it is he wants me to do at an HBCU. I'm crystal clear that I am a mentor to many, sometimes unwillingly, right? Unwittingly. Everyone is always watching. Somebody is always watching. That young person that you don't see always sees you. They see you in your moments of frustration and how you handle yourself. They see how you speak to everyone on the campus, regardless of their title or position. We are all mentors in one way or another on the campus of an HBCU, and it is a mandate for me that every individual working on my campus accept that responsibility. So it's not just the faculty who have that responsibility. If you are a member of my custodial staff, someone is looking up to you because someone sees their father in you. Someone sees their uncle or their grandfather or their great-grandfather in you. And so if that young person wants to bend your ear while you mop that floor, you listen, right? And you respond. We have an obligation. And I think HBCU campuses are just beautiful places for that to happen because we reflect the reality of our people, right? We reflect every variation on the human experience. And so I think we're unique in that regard. I mean, you can go to Arizona. I mean, you can go to Tennessee. I mean, you can go to Tennessee. UT, wherever you want to go. But I don't think you will find the same lived experience reflected. You will not find the same opportunities to connect with an individual who may share your lived experience or someone willing to pour into you and help to guide you as you would on a campus of an HBCU.
Indeed. Thank you for that response. And I want to stay here for a minute. With that even being said, as a mentor, what are some of the biggest needs or type of discussions about guidance our young students are needing right now? What is resonating right now?
Loving correction. Loving correction. There is no question that I am an educator because the house is on fire and the people I love are burning. Right? The house is on fire and the people I love are burning. Our children are misguided in this moment. That is not a criticism of our children. That is a fact. Unfortunately, what they have experienced in a world that was not designed for them has lured them into thinking that it's okay to behave any kind of way, to present yourself any kind of way, and we gave them bad advice. You just be yourself. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. They got to respect. No, sir. Respect is earned. Respect is earned, right? It is time for us to accept responsibility for these young people, to correct them lovingly, right? It is not to call them out. It is not to humiliate, embarrass, or harm. But it is our responsibility. If a young person comes on one of our campuses and leaves not able to speak the King's English, not able to string together two sentences that are grammatically correct, we failed. If they leave here thinking they can carry themselves any kind of way, dress any kind of way, talk any kind of way, not respect anything, anyone, anywhere, we failed. We failed. The world is a very cruel place for Black children who cannot read, write, speak, think, walk, talk, and chew gum all at the same time. We have a very sincere responsibility, and so I'm going to call you out, and I'm going to correct you. And I'm going to love you through it, right? We have to love them through it and model for them what it is we want them to be. So I think a heavy burden, but one I think we all bear with joy because you see the outcomes on commencement day, right? You see them walk a little taller, stand a little straighter, look you in the eye, and some actually say thank you. Some actually say thank you, and it's worth it.
Thank you so much for your transparency with that. And I am inclined to know what Dr. Felton and Dr. Comer have experienced. You know, have you experienced some of these same sentiments as it relates to mentorship?
Miss Gussie Coleman, I was a 28-year-old non-traditional student at Edward Waters College. And I was going upstairs to settle my financial account. And I went upstairs and she was a secretary, and she was very clear that she was a secretary. Don't call her administrative assistant, any of that. She was a secretary. And I walked in the door with my postal uniform on. I was, working full time. I said, she said, how may I help you? And I said, well, they sent me up here to get to take care of myself. Clutched her pearls and said, "Sant." I didn't graduate from high school. I have a GED, and I'm dyslexic, and so English was the last thing on my mind. And I grew up saying "sunt," and I still say "sunt." And so I was kerfluffled at that moment because I didn't know what the proper context was. So she said, "Go outside, and when you figure out exactly how to speak to me, you can come back in and I will help you." So I went outside. I saw this dude, Vladimir Monroe. I said, "Man, she just kicked me out of the office because I said "sunt." He was like, "A cent?" So the HBCU has been doing that. I don't know if there's a way to codify PTSD in a loving way, but my boss, President Jimmy R. Jenkins Sr., was a baby boomer. They don't care about your feelings. If it is not a continuum of excellence, you cannot do it. That's the price of admissions. And so, no trigger warnings. It's just fire. It's fire with no regard to what happens, right? And so, I mean, there will be collateral damage, right? But you learn really quickly that he loves me. She loved me. They did not allow me to walk around acting like I was on something when I was on nothing, right? And so it is baked into the story. I'm telling you, and I will say this as long as I'm living, everything originated from us, period. And the Black College is what you will find in every way, shape, form, or fashion. Anything that impacts the globe, it is happening at HBCUs, including here. So it's baked in, and that nobody died because I said that, right? It is just a fact. Like it is what we have known from day one. And when I came into existence with a Black college in 1998, that's all I've ever known. We the best. We the best.
Yeah, I just want to punctuate some of the things that have already been said. It's about creating expectations and then holding people accountable to those expectations. And it's about modeling a different way. Since I've been sitting on the stage, as a student has texted me twice. He reached out because he's literally homeless. So he's trying to figure out where he's going to be over the summer. The first text was, is there something I can do on campus for the summer? And I asked him, so what would you like to do? So he responded back, anything. That's the typical answer. So the next text back from me was, come by my office and see me. He still hasn't come to see me, but today he sends me a text and says, have you figured it out yet? Literally, is what he said to me. So, I just start twitching. Yeah. But you know, every day we get up and go on the campus, it's an investment in students. It's an investment in showing them a different way. And it's an investment in helping them to be accountable for themselves and not just for a handout. Same thing for the colleges. We've got to get beyond being a place where we panhandle and where we speak about the unique value that we deliver. And the ask is for an investment in us so that we can then return back to you something that is worthwhile, that advances the communities we live in. And it's real interesting. I'm the neophyte here on the stage. I've been in this role since August. I'm from Jackson, Tennessee. I've lived in Memphis all my life. So I went home to lead the institution that I grew up admiring. And it's interesting to go back to a small town after you've been somewhere where it's a little bit larger, where the thinking is that we sit in East Jackson and everything stops at the railroad track, which runs right along our campus, and that we don't add a significant value. The single biggest economic driver for any particular day in the city of Jackson is Lane College homecoming. We've got to speak that into existence. I love it when I hear Dr. Davis stand up and talk about 89% of his students stay here in Memphis and the economic impact of that. We've got to speak that, and we've got to role model that, and we've got to tell our story widely and tell it often. And tell the same story. Let them hear it again and again and again. So that's what mentorship is to me. I want them to see me the same way that it was before then. You know, even down to Divine Nine. When I got on campus, there were 5 Kappas. This spring, after one semester, we made 17 new Noops on campus. And I want to take credit for that because I'm modeling the way and I'm showing them what it looked like. There you go.
Wow, heavy on the Kappa today, huh?
They got nice colors.
Okay. Okay. Let's get into some of the tech conversations. Let's talk about innovation for a minute, because very recently Elon Musk has brought XAI to Memphis. This is an extremely hot topic, but I want to know, what role should HBCUs play in cultivating the next generation of Black tech, artificial intelligence?
I think that's extremely important. Just a couple weeks ago, I went to a conference in Nashville where all of the small schools in Tennessee were there, and Tennessee State University presented. If you have not gone to their website, go to Tennessee State's website and look at what they've done with AI. It is amazing what they have been able to do. As part of my learning experience at Lane College, I'm teaching senior seminar, not because of any reason other than I want to understand how faculties experience the college, I want to understand how students experience the college, and I want to know how our systems support that. So as a result of that, having that experience with Tennessee State, in my class, my students had to do their final senior project using an app called Suno, SUNO.com. So they all wrote a song that told me what they had learned in that class using AI. And the outcomes are phenomenal, what they were able to do. The pride that they have in themselves for having done that, the pride I have, because especially when I get a shout out in one of those songs. So it's amazing. So in many instances, we are afraid of AI because we worry about what it does about the paper that they're going to turn in. We worry about it, will they be plagiarizing? But let's flip the script and use it as an enabler. After that conference, I had a desire about my booster club. I wanted to understand how I could put some more parameters around my booster club. I went to ChatGPT and told ChatGPT to write me a policy on my booster club, tie it back to the NCAA rules and regulations that govern booster clubs, tie it back to what Lane College has in terms of the sports program, and in less than 5 minutes, I had a viable policy, which meant that I don't have to go hire somebody to do the work. I have a way to get that work done and can invest those dollars in tuition and housing costs for the institution. If we don't embrace it, if we don't teach our students how to use it wisely and use it prudently, we're going to be left behind.
Dr. Felton, how is your institution, circling around and supporting, any programming for Black tech entrepreneurs?
Yeah, we're following the kids.
Okay.
They were born into tech, right?
True.
They were born in it. Obviously, we provide leadership, and we have faculty members who are excited about playing with it. And so what I think we should also understand is that HBCUs really are at the tip of the spear at AI. Everybody wants to act as if we aren't, but our sister president, Melva Wallace, had AI Con on her campus where she took advantage of being in Austin. And so she had over 500 folks come to her campus, and she had tech companies there. As he mentioned, Tennessee State, North Carolina Central. There are some schools that are exemplars, but I believe all of our institutions are in the AI realm and have been using it. And I often remind people, AI has been around for a while, right? It's been around for a while, so it's no reason to be afraid of it. Siri has been with us for a minute. That's AI, right? The Google Maps, that's AI. There's so much stuff that we utilize that I think if our community can get rid of the boogeyman syndrome for everything and act as if money is the reason or the barrier, here again we go back to, see, AI is with us, right? Yeah. So I think our institutions, we're developing a course that will be an elective for us. I graduated from the University of Florida, and they were in the Chronicle of Higher Education as the first institution in America to incorporate AI into every single program on the institution. They also have a 12-credit course in AI certificate, a certificate in AI, 12 credits. Like the technology is around, and I think HBCUs are doing a yeoman's job with the resources that we have. And I know that if we continue to follow our students, the inculcating process of AI into our curricula will happen sooner rather than later.
Indeed. I just heard Dr. Comer mention how he utilized AI Suno. Am I saying that right? I think I've looked at it for a second, how he's utilized it as a president. How have you utilized AI as a president?
So I'm also a reluctant entrepreneur. For 10 years, I started this organization called the Higher Education Leadership Foundation. I've had to raise capital. I've raised over $2 million. When I sit and think about it, I've raised over $2 million. I have contractors, 1099s. I pay taxes. I, secure products and offer services. And I really hadn't thought about it because it's a passion, but I had to codify that about 5 years ago. Like, this is work and it's an investment and I'm spending my own money. And I was clear that I had a conversation with God that pushed me to do that. And so the notion of AI is, like he said, you can type in an idea. It took a minute for me to reconcile that it's still my work product. That was my problem. I didn't want to, use AI because I didn't feel like it was mine. And because we're presidents, the last thing you want is for someone, we've all wrote dissertations, the last thing you want is for somebody to talk about that ain't your work.
Right.
Right? And so I had to reconcile that it is. I'm prompting you to do what I want you to do. And so I utilize it now, and it's been helpful. I'm not over-reliant on it because I still love to create, but it is an aid that you can use to cut out a lot of time and get some pretty good quality. So I use it almost daily.
I do too. I do too. How about you, Dr. Artis? What role should HBCUs play in cultivating the next generation of Black tech entrepreneurs in emerging fields such as artificial intelligence?
So as it relates to the AI conversation, I was actually saying to Dr. Felton yesterday evening, what's interesting to me is the resistance to AI in the HBCU community, and the Black community more specifically. And I kept thinking, what is the genesis of that resistance? And it occurred to me that for white people, they have always had somebody or something do their work for them, right? It might have been our ancestors. Somebody has always done the work for them. So this is just a new age way for something to do the work for them. It is not endemic to our culture because we're usually the calculator, the writer, the picker, the plower. We have to get over that. It is not normal for us to say, handle that for me, because that's never been our story. That's never been our privilege, right? So we're having to re-educate young people that this is a tool, that you are not the tool, right? You drive, you define, you shape, you create the query for the tool, but it is just that. And if we don't engage with it more deeply, it will never reflect us. Right, in the early days of facial recognition, the challenges were that it didn't recognize African American features because there weren't enough African Americans in the test for it to pick us up. If there's not enough content around African American life history and culture in the AI, it doesn't matter what you query, it's never going to have a robust response as it relates to people of color in this country. So I look at Latimer AI, which is defined for Black people, right? It is defined with our history in mind, our cultural capabilities in mind, and we use that frequently, but we have to train it to see us, to recognize us, and to create for us things that are reflective of our culture. So I think as it relates to the conversation on AI, absolutely necessary, non-negotiable, we have to be at the front end of this thing. On Thank you for that. On the tech transfer, I do want to address that issue because I know that was a critical part of the question. We tend to think about business and entrepreneurship from the standpoint of a hair salon. My kids are into vintage clothing now. Like, this is a new thing. Like, this is a whole enterprise, vintage clothing. Like, they're buying, wholesaling from, the Salvation Army and double charging for some. I mean, it's really interesting to me, right? And they're actually articulating it in the way that it's safe. I mean, it's environmentally friendly, right? We're not throwing away clothes. We're reusing, repurposing, what's old is new again, that kind of thing. So those kinds of service line businesses tend to be what we're seeing on our campuses. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me be crystal clear. I love cupcakes. I need my hair done. I need my nails done. I need a makeup artist every now and again. I should have had one today. But I mean, all of those service line businesses are critically important. But tech is where the real money is, right? So tech transfer policies on our campus, our incubators have to include a tech transfer element. We're going to own a piece of that as an institution and create that generational wealth for the institution, not just for the business owner, but for the institution. So we've partnered with folks like ServiceNow, a white label app developer, Fortune 50 company. Most people have never heard of them because they create apps and sell them. They put their brand on them. The Target app is a ServiceNow app. The Walmart app is a ServiceNow app. You don't know ServiceNow, you know Target. Well, we don't know Target no more, but we know Walmart. We don't mess with Target no more, but we know Walmart, right? But they have invested in our campus. I mean, they've given $1.5 million, and our kids are creating apps, and they're getting stock options, right? They're getting ownership in the tech that they're creating on behalf of ServiceNow. That's where the future is. You want residuals, right? We need to be teaching kids different language, like the language of money. I want passive income. I want residual income. Like, those are the things we need to be, because I'm lazy. I'm just joking. I mean, those are the things we need to be teaching our kids, right? And so the tech transfer space, we can't dance around that. We can't just say it's okay to open a salon on the campus. It's okay to resell clothes on the campus. We want them to use their creativity, their innovation, their ingenuity to use that technology process and have some ownership in that technology enhancement.
I love that. I love that, Dr. Artis, and I love how you're collaborating with partners on your campus as well. And let's talk about collaborations for a minute. I want to start this question with Dr. Felton. How is your HBCU collaborating with corporate partners and government entities to enhance the entrepreneurial ecosystem?
I want to quote the great Rosalind Clark artist who said about 2 years ago, collaboration is the new form of domination, right? It is. We have started the We Zone, Wiley Economic Initiative. We got a $2 million grant from the TD Jakes Foundation and Wells Fargo. We have a ton of blight. Thank you for that. We have a ton of blight. We have purchased all the property. We've demolished the buildings, and we're building an incubator for the community, Newtown. And we have signed partnerships with the Black business owners to tear down their buildings and put them into new buildings. And it's free to them. We swap the land. They get a new building. Most of their buildings were, 60, 70 years old. And we're creating a hub. We've partnered with a grocer, which I can't name, to bring a mini grocer to the Newtown area. So that incubation, our students are getting an opportunity to see what it looks like to really recirculate the dollar in the space. And that collaboration for us has looked like using Habitat for Humanity. They are building stuff for us at cost. While it's not homes, they're building the actual We Zone. Wells Fargo, the TD Jakes Foundation, and Bonton Farms is another grocer that comes in and allows you to do the grocery shopping virtually. And so we're partnering with people to bring about hope and to also model behavior that our students get to pick up on, and it resonates with them in different ways. The last I'll say is we partner with some of the local entities like you. We have students who are entrepreneurs. And about 3 years ago, we wanted a new homecoming t-shirt design. Well, the winner was selected by their peers. We pumped $1,000 into the winner. We brought product for them. They sold it at homecoming. And we've got 2 individuals right now on our campus that are pushing out materials that they have created, designed, and all of that good stuff. So in a way, the college was an investor, a silent investor, which we have no stake in their stuff, but we provided an opportunity for them to sell their goods as well. And that stuff is able to be purchased on our website, and our students benefit from that. So it's a practice that we are very comfortable with, but that collaboration, we've used the city, we've used national entities, and we've done everything that we can to really show that collaboration is the new form of domination.
That is awesome. I really love the grocery store concept on the campus. That's amazing. How about you, Dr. Donald Comer? Let's talk about collaborations with corporate partners, where you come from a corporate background, and also government entities.
Yeah, I'll lean back in on my time at FedEx. This space we were talking about tech. My last 7 years at FedEx, I led a tech area that was focused on AI. So it was a sweet spot. And when I discovered that Lane College was working with the Luminosity Lab, and I was leading a project that was focused on electrification, we did research on how we could electrify the vehicle fleet at Lane. We did that in partnership with Lane College. We made an investment there because I was able to tie that back to work I was doing at FedEx. So FedEx benefited and Lane College benefited. Most recently, Dixie Cups made a significant investment in Jackson, $423 million. The biggest single investment in the city of Jackson. We've been able to invite the general manager to be on our board. He's there. He's looking at us, and he's helping us to envision what it could look like. When they were building that plant, it would have been great if we had been able to offer him space for him to actually nest while he was watching it being built. So he's helping us to rethink how we can collaborate. So we're inviting and repurposing some of the seats on our board to build those kinds of relationships. Got a budding relationship that I'm nurturing with Comcast, because we're focusing in on our media arts program. Comcast owns NBC Universal. So we've got a trip that's planned to take my students there that Comcast is committed to work with us on. So collaboration is key. When resources are tight, you find a partner that's willing to invest in you. Again, not make a donation, it's an investment.
Now we are winding down the panel. This is my last question for each of you, and we're going to get into some of the advice for some of our students that are present here today. I want to know from each of you, we'll start with Dr. Artis, what advice would you give to HBCU students who are just, they're interested in entrepreneurship, but they feel that they lack resources or the networks that they need to get started?
So I really loved our keynote speaker talk about the open hand, right? This idea of, yeah, some things may fall out, but you leave yourself open to things falling in. We lean back on to euphemisms, right? A closed mouth can't be fed. Our campuses have so many resources. We have people willing to assist and support you at every stage of the game. But if you don't tap in, get engaged, open your mouth, talk to your faculty, go to their offices, visit career centers, go to the Entrepreneurship Center, ask. We're here for you. We work for you. We do everything we do is with you in mind. And so that can't be passive, right? Income can be passive, but that cannot be passive. You must be aggressive. You must engage. You must knock on doors and not take no for an answer. We work for you. Right? We're here, we're committed to your success because we want you to be very wealthy alums who give back to our institutions.
Yeah, I use the buffet as a muse. I'm a Golden Corral guy and Waffle House. And I try to get students to understand that the ivory tower is a buffet, right? Everybody pays the same price and has the same access. And yet, some of us will get one plate, and some will get two and a half. That's what I am. I get my greens first, and then I get whatever I want, and that half a plate is my dessert, right? But I've sat and watched people get 5 and 6 plates, 7 and 8, right? If you come to a campus and you simply go to sleep, go to class, and come back, you have really shortchanged yourself. What Doc just said, there is so much information, so much opportunity, and I encourage our students to look at every member on the campus as an asset, right? This can help me, this person can help me, regardless of where they sit. And I encourage all of my teammates to look and reimagine our students as souls. You have the power to break that soul or a power to really curate that soul. And the worst thing we can do as stewards of these students is to break their souls. It can create, a lasting impact. And so if you think about being at a buffet and you know you're hungry and you have no idea, you sit and pick and pick and pick until you find exactly what you want. Same holds true, and I try to encourage our students, be exhausted when you graduate from college because you went to every party, you were at every career fair, you stayed up late, you did all these things. And that's the experience of being at a place that has a ton of different offerings that you want to sample. So that's my advice to our students.
Dr. Comer?
And I guess one of my favorite books that I've read recently is a book called Go Givers. And that book talks about creating value. So as a student, as a faculty member, as an administrator, we should all be creating value. Value that's sufficient enough that somebody wants to compensate you for it. Start with the value first. Spend some time looking at what can you do, especially something that you care about, in ways that somebody else wants to consume it. And if you can create enough value, the compensation will follow. And that's really what you need to lean in on. And you got to be able to tell your story. You can't always say, well, what are you going to do when you graduate? Well, I'll do anything. What do you want to do? Well, I'm a marketing major. When I was at FedEx, there were 500 different marketing positions. If you told me you were a marketing major, I wouldn't know what to do with you. But if you told me I want to be in new product development, I knew where to take it. If you told me that you want to be in sports marketing, I knew where to take it. You've got to master the art of the long view. I know you think you're 18, 19, 20 now, but you got to think about what that looks like. When you get to be 40 and 50, what do you want your life to look like? How do you get there? And if you ever sit down with me, that's always going to be my first question. And then each subsequent time you tell me what you're doing, I'm vetting that against what you told me you wanted to do. And when it makes good sense, we're going to say it makes good sense. And when it doesn't, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Did you change what your end goal is? Did you decide you're going to delay when you're going to lean into your purpose? And if those two things didn't happen, then what you just told me probably is not making sense. So you need to ask yourself those questions all the time. Master the art of the long view, and then vet every decision you make against, does it get you there when you want to, or does it get you there in a different experience? But you got to start to think about your futures now and put the work in now.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our amazing panelists a huge round of applause. Dr. Rosalind Clark Artis, Dr. Herman J. Felton Jr., and Dr. Donald Comer. You all are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Now, we also hope that you have enjoyed this powerful discussion, and the day continues in Brownlee Hall for the Empowerment Luncheon. Brownlee 31 is where the luncheon is held, which is on the second floor of Brownlee. You will see individuals in purple apparel who will guide you to the location. At our luncheon, we will honor HBCU graduates who are trailblazing entrepreneurs in Memphis. Thank you. See you at the luncheon.